Now, laws meant to protect service members from predatory loans may be in jeopardy.
Reports say the Trump administration is considering rolling back some of those protections, and that has military groups concerned. 13 News Now reporter Jacqueline Lee spoke with military advocates about what's at stake.
Well, Jana, I spoke with someone from the National Military Family Association. She told me she and dozens of other service member organizations are concerned about this, arguing that military readiness is at stake.
Paying bill after bill can be hard, but imagine adding predatory loans, credit card gouging, even financial fraud to the mix. That's what service members had to look out for, like Nuria Foos, who served in the Navy for 20 years.
I was just told that it's not a good thing to get into. It's just a mess.
In 2006, the Military Lending Act protected those service members from predatory companies. Now, reports surface the Trump administration wants to roll back protections. Representatives from the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau argue they don't have the proper authority to continue lender oversight.
Don't make it easy for them to target the military.
And dozens of military and veteran service organizations agree, writing this letter to the Trump administration, arguing service members will suffer if the Military Lending Act is weakened.
It affects their readiness because they're concerned about getting these loans paid back, and they're not focusing on the mission at hand.
There's also pushback from lawmakers. Senators Tim Kaine, Mark Warner, and dozens of Democratic colleagues confirm rolling back protections will affect military readiness. They write, if the military loses qualified members due to financial insecurity, it leads to significant replacement costs and degrades mission effectiveness.
It's like the domino effect. You have bills to pay, but guess what? They're going to take their money, so therefore you have to, tumble around your bills and everything just to be able to figure out how to make ends meet.
The Office of Service Member Affairs at the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau handled more than 90,000 consumer complaints from service members and returned $200 million and counting. Jacqueline Lee, 13 News Now.